Chelsea didn't just beat Barcelona 3-0 in the Champions League, they embarrassed two superclubs at once. The Brazilian wonderkid who grew up obsessed with Barça and was tracked by Real Madrid chose blue instead. In this video, we expose how Chelsea stole Estevão. Barcelona got slapped 3-0 at Stamford Bridge, but the real pain isn't just in Catalonia. Even in Madrid, where they live to see Barça suffer, this is not a night you can really celebrate. Because the guy doing the damage? He's a self-proclaimed Barcelona fan. The kid who grew up watching Messi, Neymar and Suárez, dreaming of the Camp Nou, just chose Chelsea blue for his first big European masterclass. And on the other side of Spain, Florentino Perez is watching it all with that familiar look. This is the president who built a whole side quest around Brazilian stars. Vinicius, Rodrigo, Endrick, even the Rainier Gamble. Whenever a Brazilian teenager looks special, Madrid are usually first in line with a check after they missed out on Neymar. This time, they watched, they analysed, they passed. On the scoreboard, it's Chelsea 3, Barcelona 0. In the bigger picture, it's Chelsea 1, Barcelona and Real Madrid 0 in the race for the next Brazilian superstar. So, who is this kid that just turned Barça into a meme and made Madrid look slow? Estevao Willian is a 2007-born winger from Franca, São Paulo, who's basically been that kid in every age group he's ever touched. At 10, he was already going viral in Brazil, getting clipped on social media and slapped with the nickname Messinho because of how easily he danced through defenders. Palmeiras pulled him into their academy, and from there it escalated fast. He signed a Nike deal as a young teenager, started wrecking youth tournaments, and by 16 he was making his professional debut in one of the most pressured clubs in Brazil like it was nothing. What makes everyone lose their minds isn't just the flair. He's a left-footed right winger who can glide past people, but he also has real numbers. Goals, assists, final ball decisions that don't look like a kid gambling, they look like a grown playmaker. That's why, before he ever set foot in London, people were already calling him Brazil's next mega export. But to get why Madrid didn't go all in for Estevão, you can't look at today's Madrid with struggling Vini and Rodrigo. You have to rewind to when Chelsea agreed the deal in 2024, and even further back to December 2022, when Madrid had already chosen their Palmeiras star. The chosen one was Endrick, 1 year older, already in the senior squad, already bullying adults. He finished as Palmeiras' top scorer in the league and dragged them through that crazy 2023 title run. Estevão hadn't even joined the first team yet. He was still the academy legend, not the guy deciding titles on TV. Endrick ticked every box they were desperate to fill. Benzema was getting old, Mbappe was finally arriving, and they needed a true striker who could live between the posts, finish moves, and eventually lead the line on his own. Endrick looked built exactly for that. Explosive, strong, big game goals, already proving he could carry Palmeiras in real title races. Estevão, on the other hand, was another left-footed attacker who loved starting wide and drifting inside. In Madrid's head, that lane was covered. Rodrigo was cooking on the right. Arda Güler and Nico Paz were waiting behind him. Mastantuono was lined up as the next left-footed playmaker to slide into that same channel. From a squad-building perspective, Endrick filled a hole. Estevão doubled up an area they thought was already stacked. Add in one massive check already sent to Palmeiras, non-EU spots to manage, and a wage bill about to welcome Mbappe. And Estevão quietly moved from priority to nice to have. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, drop a like and subscribe to Goal 90. Your support matters a lot. But what about Barcelona? If anyone was supposed to close this deal, it was the club he actually loved. On the sporting side, the coaches and scouts were in. They'd tracked him for years. They knew exactly how cleanly a left-footed winger like Estevão drops into the Barça blueprint. The problem was everything wrapped around the football. The finances were wrecked, La Liga's salary rules were suffocating them, and every big transfer had to be justified to accountants before it ever reached the manager. They'd already gone heavy on another Brazilian bet, Vitor Roque. He was meant to be the young forward who'd grow alongside Lamine Yamal and Gavi. So when Estevão came into range, the people doing the sums saw another huge fee, another teenage attacker, same financial headache, and started hitting the brakes. Inside the club, the line became simple. Lamine Yamal is even better. We need to protect his growth, not crowd it. Are they right? Time will tell. But round 1 finished 3-0 Chelsea, 1-0 Estevão Yamal. Barcelona and Madrid weren't the only ones sniffing around. Estevão wasn't some hidden gem, he was the main course in a full European bidding war. PSG were there early, doing what PSG always do with South American talent: constant contact, big promises, lots of talk about following in the footsteps of Neymar. Bayern were monitoring him too, seeing if they could repeat the grab a generational attacker before everyone wakes up move they pulled with Jamal Musiala. In England, it wasn't just Chelsea. Manchester City made inquiries, because of course they did. A left-footed winger who can press, combine and drift inside might as well have Pep prototype stamped on his forehead. Arsenal's name kept popping up too, flirting with the idea of putting him on that right side long term. But when Palmeiras looked at the table, only one club was really pushing all their chips in. Others were interested, curious and in the race. Chelsea were obsessed. They weren't asking, is this the right time? They were asking, how do we make sure nobody else gets him? To really get why Estevão picked Chelsea, you have to look at the project he was walking into. From the moment Todd Boehly took over, Chelsea basically turned into a wonderkid factory. Long contracts, crazy scouting network, and a clear obsession with grabbing the best teenagers before anyone else. A big chunk of that has been pointed straight at South America. Andre Santos, Kendry Páez, Angelo, David Washington, more being lined up every window. For all the memes about Chelsea signing every 17-year-old alive, there is a plan. Build a core of elite young talent, grow them together, and let one or two become true superstars instead of paying $1 billion later. From Estevão's side, that looks attractive. At Madrid or Barça, he'd be the next in a long line of wonder kids squeezed between existing stars. At Chelsea, the messaging was different. You're not just another piece, you're one of the pillars. This isn't a club dipping into Brazil for a quick PR signing, it's a club trying to build its entire future with players exactly like him. When you line everything up, Estevão's choice actually looks pretty logical. At Madrid, the picture was crowded. Vinicius, Rodrigo, and a queue of left-footed right half-space guys in Arda Güler, Nico Paz, Mastantuono. Even if Madrid love you, it's clear you're waiting your turn. At Barcelona, the heart said yes, but the bank account said no. They couldn't match the fee, they couldn't guarantee registration without drama, and every conversation came with the shadow of, we have to protect Lamine Yamal first. Chelsea though? Chelsea came in like, we're paying full price, we're waiting for you to turn 18, and when you land, you're not a side quest, you're the project. They rolled out a plan with minutes, a defined role, Brazilian teammates already in the squad, and a coach ready to put the ball at his feet, not park him on the bench to learn. In that situation, the dream club becomes the one that actually bets their whole future on you. This is where it stings most for the two giants. In Madrid, they still have Endrick, Mastantuono and Arda Güler, all still insanely talented and with time. But fans can do basic math. The kid they didn't even push for is dropping a masterclass against Barcelona and looking instantly comfortable in the Champions League. Every Estevão clip gets watched twice in Valdebebas now, once with excitement and once with, how did we let this slide? Energy. In Barcelona, it cuts deeper. Estevão wasn't just available, he was emotionally theirs. A self-confessed Barça fan, perfect for their style, begging to be part of the next era. And he ends up destroying them in a blue shirt because the numbers didn't add up. Right now, both clubs hide behind the same line. We've got Vinicius, we've got Rodrigo, we've got Lamine Yamal. Are they right to be calm? Time will tell. But after one night at Stamford Bridge, the scoreline is simple. 3-0 Chelsea. 0 Estevão versus Yamal. Fast forward to today. Chelsea have just smashed Barcelona 3-0. Estevão has clipped the moment of his life, and the highlight comps are looping on every Spanish and Brazilian timeline. For everyone in London, it's the birth of a new star. For Madrid and Barça, it's a how did we let this happen night. In Madrid, the regret hits from two angles. First, they're watching a kid from Palmeiras tear up the Champions League in blue, not white. Second, every Brazil game is a reminder. Estevão walks into the Seleção and suddenly looks like the guy, drifting in off the right, running the attack, and worst of all, for Madridistas, taking the penalties. It's no longer Vinicius on the spot, it's the Chelsea teenager. And Carlo Ancelotti, the same coach who built his whole Real Madrid front line around Vini and Rodrigo, is now handing that responsibility to a player Madrid never signed. That stings in a different way. Barcelona's regret is more emotional. They didn't just miss a talent, they missed their kid. The boy who wanted them, who fit their style, who could have grown next to Lamine Yamal, has instead just cooked them on their biggest stage. Online, you already see the split. fans arguing over whose ceiling is higher, Yamal or Estevão, while the scoreboard quietly says 3-0 Chelsea and 1-0 Estevão versus Yamal. Are they right that Lamine will still be the better player long term? Time will tell. But on the first big night that really put them head to head, Chelsea 3, Barcelona 0, and Estevão has the lead. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe to Goal 90, and drop your take in the comments. Will Estevão or Yamal be the better right wing? When you're done, keep the rabbit hole going and click the next video on your screen.